I've always looked at life through the lens of the karmic, dharmic caste system, which was the foundation of civilization in the South Asian subcontinent in quote-unquote prehistoric times, let's say before the time of 1500 Common Era. And in reflecting on that social structure whereby which individuals were born into particular social economic classes and locked into said social economic classes and are bound by a philosophy which tied their souls to their position in society and economy, you recognize that there was a labor force, a manual labor force, a pressed into servitude labor force, an exploited labor force that was tied not only to one's own soul, but one's own incarnation formation. Did we not pay attention to the fact that reincarnation intrinsically has the racist framework within it, as the Brahmins and the Aryans of South Asia and India are the lighter skinned and the fairer skinned, and the Dravidians and the untouchables were the darker skinned? We then pay attention to that framework of society, that framework in structuring an organization of civilization, and we begin to recognize that in every subsection of humanity, we will discover a particular slave caste, call it what you want. And it's interesting because no matter where I go in the universe, no matter where I go on this earth, as a master of psychology, as a master of sociology, and as an anthropological man, I pay attention to the ordering and structuring of said societies, of said cultures, of said humans, human organization. And in that, I pay attention to the simple fact that the darker skinned always have been and always are, no matter where I go, particularly locked in to particular ways of earning existence. And that is by physical labor, physical drudgery. Now, I say all of this to say that when you are born in this position in today's world, you have the possibility of upward mobility based on your own competence. But as you begin to ascend into a higher state of offering to the human organization, you will begin to feel a lot of tension, because most people go with the status quo. Most people go along with what they've been taught. Most people go along with what they've been prescribed and told that they must be. They've never questioned their identity. Understand that racism initially is a effective tool of organizing human groups in society, meaning it's a matter of division of labor. You can go into Marxist theory and do the research yourself, but it's about division and organization of labor, because a society, a civilization is a flywheel of individuals contributing to the flow, to the well-being, to the economic status of said civilization, human group, organization. Whatever you want, your world is yours. We're not here for the less intelligent. We're not here for those who need consistent explanation. If you need remedial level explanation and remedial level teaching, if you need 101, 102, 202, we're in the advanced caliber. Understand this one thing. Slavery has been decentralized. Once upon a time, you have these skin color people doing this particular work, and that's just how society was organized. It's more effective and efficient. Color code all the labor and allow everyone else to move how they move. But ever since the opening of the market to all types of individuals' identities, psychological and or phenotypical, it's interesting to see how, although the ability to move upward, the upward mobility in the economy is open to all, how many people still have been locked in to these psychological identities and frameworks. So the decentralization of slavery is a real thing. Meaning, you're not going to find slaves on a plantation. You're not going to find slaves in a mine. You're not going to find slaves friggin' building railroads, particularly anymore. It's all up top. The decentralization of slavery has been one of the wide-scale phenomena that most people talk about as mental slavery. There's no longer a locking into a particular occupation, doing things in a specific place, space, for a specific amount of time. As I said, once upon a time, racism was relatively necessary as a organizational tool for the organization and management of labor. Someone has to do something in society to keep society going, but now we live in the future. And the beautiful thing about this is that, if I might say so myself, no one had to tell me these things. It's just a natural genius sitting back, reflecting and contemplating on the human condition and providing clarity at a level that most people will never be able to attain or achieve on their own. This is why the value of Sheikhy Chic's attention is through the roof. Why your world is yours. Consider the vibrations raised now. What can we do with this information? We can look at ourselves and reflect. See who we want to be, how we want to be, where we want to be. And rise to a particular space and place within any economic system, because it's all about becoming a master servant. You have to recognize that your money is tied to your ability to serve people, your caliber and pedigree of said service. So it's about shifting your perspective. If you believe in only getting a job, a particular job, which is a particular level of prestige through a particular cultural lens, that's all subjective human bullshit. You have to recognize that you have the ability to move in any which direction. And in that, you have to recognize also that there will be tensions, because most people are still locked into believing that what they appear to be necessitates what they need to be. I'll say that again. Most people are still locked into the belief that what they appear to be necessitates what they need to be, when your phenotype is nothing but a fragment of a genetic expression, and the true superiority and the true identity is that which dwells within. The true superiority is in the conductor and not that which is being conducted through, aka the soul and not the body. The flesh is merely a perceptual case, a perceptual element, but the soul, the imperceivable, the animator of that which is animated, needs to be able to take control of its faculties on a higher level to begin to take itself to a higher level. But you can't use what you don't know about. You can't be what you can't imagine. Whatever you are, your world is yours. So you need to think bigger, imagine greater, and see the game for what it is. The Matrix is the Matrix for a reason. And it's not about breaking the Matrix. It's not about dismantling the Matrix. It's about understanding your place within the Matrix and understanding that the Matrix exists to keep as much things in harmony as possible. Now, how you play the game and how you navigate, that'll be your own game of chess. But recognize, when you're checked, you will be checked. Consider the vibrations raised. Evolution only solution, self-mastery only success. Slavery has been decentralized in that there's no more locality of locking into a particular skin color, doing a particular task for a particular pay or non-pay. Now slavery is in the mind, and when you choose to go on your own exodus and you choose to separate and deviate from whichever quote-unquote caste or class you were born into and decide to operate, decide to learn, decide to grow and expand into brackets which otherwise you would have been omitted from and not permitted into, you will feel the tensions on all levels, from those you used to know and those you will not get to know. Because imagine having been born on a plantation and then being in a room with the president in the year 1790, in the year 1860, 1875. That's quite a ways away from anything that was given to you, and everything must be earned. Consider the vibrations raised. So in every space, you get into and grow into, you will feel one thing, which is the way that you've come and the way you've come to be. Consider the vibrations raised.